All right, so let's bring in our chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton. So, Rosie, what's the story of this budget?
Adrienne, it's really the government shifting away from those massive emergency budgetary measures to deal with the pandemic, sort of getting back to a level of spending that this government, anyway, is more comfortable with, investing in long-term social programs that they've committed to doing. That's not to say that everyone's going to be happy with this level of spending, but it does mean the deficit goes down over time, as we've seen. What it also does, and this is an important political signal, I think, is try and reinforce the idea that this is a government that believes in fiscal guardrails and fiscal responsibility. That's a message to some Liberals even who were concerned about what this deal with the NDP actually meant. And it's perhaps a return to sort of more traditional Liberal thinking about approaches to budgets overall. And that this deal with the NDP to support budgets over the next 4 years doesn't mean that they're going to blow the tires out in terms of spending.
And so how then does that deal affect the budget?
So there won't be an election, obviously, and the timelines for some of the promises in the budget can be longer. Not everything has to be done right away. Not everything has to be about making sure you win the next election. Beyond that very specific example of implementing dental care, maybe a couple of the housing measures, what that deal has done is to buy the government some time to think about policy and to implement policy. There's a downside to that. For instance, some of the government's promises to create economic growth are a little vague, and they say will only come in the fall. So the urgency of getting measures underway isn't there. But again, that was the point of this deal, to offer some stability in governing. As David mentioned, though, the instability could come from elsewhere in the world and upend the budget plans that we saw today.
All right. Thank you, Rosie. You'll be back shortly with that issue.
You bet.